Whoa, what the fuck was that shit? um, I wanted to do this video on predictive programming. And does it exist? That's a pretty good question there. Predictive programming. Well, if you look at The Simpsons, if you look at Family Guy, for one, it's that. A buddy of mine, Cursor, and I would talk. This would be our favorite topic: predictive programming. I mean, just that when you look at shows like The Simpsons and Family Guy. So far, they've did episodes where Family Guy did a episode where there was Robin Williams, like from different movies, and like from Jumanji and Mrs. Doubtfire and Mork and Mindy, all those good programs that he was in, because it was a prediction that he would have died, which he did. They did one where Brian died, saving Stewie. That was a prediction of Paul Walker dying, which before he actually died, Paul Walker died in a car accident driving in a Porsche Carrera GT. Now, about that, someone said the reason he died because the car had 10-year-old tires. Well, it shouldn't matter if the car had 5-year-old tires. It was a single car accident that took the life of both the driver and Paul Walker himself. And a lot of people were saying that he was taken out. Someone showed a video online where there was this you call it some kind of projectile that allegedly hit the car, causing it to destruct, kind of blow up, to destroy the car. A Porsche Carrera GT is a really powerful car. It's kind of like the modern day Porsche 959, which is a all-wheel drive twin turbo 3.8 liter, 400 and it's about 500 horsepower. Porsche engine, first ever supercar, 959. It can hit 200 miles an hour, 450 horsepower, folks. Twin turbo, 3.8 liter. Very advanced. That's why it was banned for a while from coming to the United States, because certain things that certain automakers have on their cars, they don't want it here because of the goddamn emissions and shit, I mean, there was so many predictions on TV shows. There was a spin-off of The X-Files, and it was a spin-off show, and this was about, I would say, the episode was about a plane being hijacked, that got hacked, and was predicted to hit a building. And these shows we're basically predicting an event, predicting an event, Um, but the plane was hacked in the episode, and it was controlled by somebody that was about to take a plane full of people and ram it into buildings. This was way before 9/11 in 2001. Stuff. So when you least expect it, I mean, now there's also a part of a movie that it had Gina Davis in it and Danny Glover, and the first time ever you heard the term false flag in a movie, in a movie. In the episode, in that movie, it talks about a false flag event where you take a plane and they mentioned this, taking a plane and ramming it into buildings. This was around 1996. This was 5 years before 9/11, and there was so much events that was predicted in TV shows and movies, even in books. For example, Sinking of the Titan, which was a book that was written in the late 1800s, and it predicted a ship named the Titan sinking, hit an iceberg, and it sunk. Now, I don't know if... See, we all know that at the bottom of the Atlantic is not the real Titanic. It's actually the Olympic that sunk at the bottom of the ocean. Now, the real Titanic, were under the name the Olympic. Okay. Now, the real Titanic was scrapped in the 30s. Okay, it was scrapped in the 30s. Okay, the Olympic became the Titanic and sunk because that ship was costing White Star and J.P. Morgan lots of money. It was a liability. Okay, so what they did was they switched the names. They put insurance on the Olympic with the name of the Titanic to sink it, but also to kill off two competitors. One was John Jacob Astor, one of the billionaires that was against the 1913 Federal Reserve Act. He's one of, was it 2 or 3 that died. So there was 2 things that happened: murder and insurance fraud. And J.P. Morgan was involved in that fraud and murder shit. So he also owned the Lusitania, which he could care less about that ship. So the Titanic was predicted in a book, but which ship is it at the bottom of the Atlantic? The Titanic or the Olympic? See, we all know it's really the Olympic under the name of the Titanic. The real Titanic was scrapped in the 30s, early to mid 30s. Okay. Now the ship could have been saved as a historical piece, but it went through so many owners, so many fucking owners and shit, And no best question: is this really the Olympic? No, it's really the Titanic under the name the Olympic that was scrapped. I'm wondering if they did that to keep the secret alive. Okay. Now, we all know that both ships had their name changed. And the Olympic was sunk. It's not the real Titanic, it's the Olympic. Okay, folks? Now, I've always liked this. I've always liked this conspiracy theory. Okay, I'm like, dude. I'm like, I love a good conspiracy theory. Okay. Now I watched a video on Old Dirty Bastard. Old Dirty Bastard. And the guy was very interesting. Okay. And the question was, did the Wu-Tang Clan sacrifice him? And now I would say this would be the call. I would call this the ODB curse, because he was good. He was good, and from what people are saying, that Method Man and another guy, was it Razor or Dizzer, saying that they wrote most of ODB's stuff. But I don't know. I think that with all the shit he went through, I think that after he died, Method Man became an actor. He was on TV. He was in movies. He was in How High with Redman. But he was in the Child's Play, where he was on a date with Jennifer Tilly, who I think she's fucking hot though for her age. Like, dude. I mean, Jennifer Tilly is fucking gorgeous, dude. I wouldn't mind putting her ankles on my shoulders. No, she would be considered a scream queen, because she's a horror film legend. You know, being in Child's Play movies, you know, Chucky's, you know, the whole thing. I think she did a good job in playing that character, being a voice character of Chucky's bride, you know. You know, I mean, a lot of questions been asked, you know. You know, like, did Fat Joe sacrifice Big Pun? I don't think so. Because Big Pun was around 630 pounds. 630 pounds. That dude was a walking heart attack waiting to happen. Because the dude, 630 pounds, man. If I weighed that much, I couldn't see my dick, dude. Like, what? I'll be like, fat bastard, man. If I couldn't see my dick, I would be considered legally dead, man. That's how I feel, man. If I can't see my dick, I am considered legally fucking dead, dude. I've always liked a good. The whole predictive programming thing is one of my top 5 favorite conspiracy theories of all time, and because it's really weird, you know. The Simpsons did an episode where Lisa becomes like, she looks like she had that hairstyle like Hillary, and where Lisa Simpson becomes the first woman president. You know, no bullshit there. But did it happen? No. But they did a prediction of Donald Trump becoming president, which did come true. Which it's really really weird. I mean, like really weird on all over, man. Like, dude, I do believe that predictive programming does exist. It does exist, you know. Books, movies, TV, video games, and shit, you know. But you only get a little bit of the truth. That's snunk in there, you know. Because if you look at Stanley Kubrick, Stanley Kubrick is one of my favorite actors of all time. No, directors of all time. One of them. Now, he had movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey. He did Clockwork Orange. He did The Shining. And now that movie, Stephen King did not like it. He hated it because Stephen King wrote a book where there was a red Volkswagen in the movie. And since Stanley Kubrick didn't put in the red Volkswagen, he did at the end as a middle finger to Stephen King. And now, The Shining wasn't just a horror movie. It was a horror movie with Easter eggs about the moon landing. That it was fake. The moon landing was staged. And Stanley Kubrick was a very brilliant guy. You know, he was a director that went against the elite, the establishment, Hollywood's establishment. When he did Eyes Wide Shut, he died about, what was it, 3 weeks later after that movie came out. And if you watch the movie from beginning to end, it was a weird fucking movie. Now, the last person that died doing a movie about the Illuminati, you know, something like Eyes Wide Shut, a director and producer was found mysteriously dead. Now, this movie was right around between the 20s and 30s when it happened. I think more in the 20s or something like that. Maybe I need to look again. But if you look at Clockwork Orange, he had to deal with pharmaceuticals. You know, Malcolm McDowell played pretty good in that movie, though. He also did the Cat People. You know, good film. But check out Clockwork Orange, and also check out The Shining, because there's Easter eggs in the movie about the space landing and shit. You know, no, the moon landing. I'm sorry, the moon landing, and it is really interesting. You know, and now if you look at They Live, it's about consumerism. And it's about, I mean, right here, Roddy Piper, what wasn't it? He played a pretty good part. And I mean, if you look at again, you don't get all the truth. You only get a little bit, a little bit here, a little bit there, because somebody. Now, here's the thing. Do you think the government is involved in making movies? Do you all guys think that the government is involved in making movies? They do, because look at Transformers. Look at Iron Man. Look at Terminator. The, the government was involved in those three movies. Why? Now, look, Transformers was a cartoon that came in the 80s, came out in the 80s, cartoon. It was also a comic book. Iron Man came out in the early 60s, and it was about billionaire playboy Tony Stark. His family was a weapons maker, Stark Industries and shit, and he built this Iron Man suit, which was not bad, but it changed. That was the Mark One he made in the cave, and now my question is, why was the government involved in making of Iron Man, Terminator, and also Transformers? Now, if you look at Dark Side of the Moon, I think they were involved in that Transformers Dark Side of the Moon. I think there was a little bit of the moon landing bullshit there, that they threw in there. And it had Buzz Aldrin, legendary Buzz Aldrin, who was part of the Apollo missions and shit, Because if you look at Family Guy's episode where it's funny because it's an Easter egg of Buzz Aldrin coming out of the studio wearing his spacesuit, and they did that moon landing shit, and someone goes, "Hey, I seen you land on the moon," and the guy that said it was got the crap bit out of him and then thrown in the trunk. That was on Family Guy. Seth MacFarlane is not afraid of taking things far. I mean, the guy is funny as hell and doesn't give a shit. He was on that show on YouTube called Kicked in the Nuts, and the guy that kicked him in the nuts was the same guy that kicked Peter Griffin in the nuts. Orange hair, green jumpsuit, orange shoes, wearing sunglasses. Hey man, you got kicked in the nuts. Same guy. And it's funny too. It's funny. And I want to see more of that shit, dude. I want to see more of that guy kicking people in the nuts. But it's all rehearsed stuff, man. And what made me laugh was a blind the dude kicked a blind priest in the nuts, man. And it was fucking funny, dude. A blind priest get kicked. Funny as hell, man. Got a new mug. It's a Xbox coffee mug. Got it over at GameStop. I needed a new mug, so I needed a new coffee mug, so I got one. But when you really look at the whole predictive programming, and it takes a while for you to actually pay attention to, like, Family Guy and The Simpsons Matt Groening and Seth MacFarlane has taken this shit pretty far to where, like, do they know something that we don't fucking know? And they put it in their episodes and shit. Now, how many of you seen the Fugitive with Harrison Ford? That is one of my favorite movies. The Fugitive, V for Vendetta. Now, The Fugitive has to deal. If you really watch the movie, okay, if you really watch the movie, Harrison Ford plays Dr. Richard Kimball, and he was accused of killing his wife when his wife was really killed by a one-armed man wearing a prosthetic. And now, if you really pay attention, it has to do with corruption in the medical industry, in big pharma. Now, big pharma, FDA, they've done a lot of shitty shit, man. A lot of shitty shit over the years. Stanislaus Kaczynski, a famous doctor that spent decades, just like Dr. Sebi, both spent time studying, learning, and except Dr. Sebi does herbs and shit, a lot of organic stuff, Dr. Stanislaus Kaczynski, he found and patented a part of a where he discovered angioplasty, which takes and destroys tumors and shit, cancer cells and tumor cells and shit like that. And the FDA went after him for that, And he spent $2 million on his research and shit, where the FDA, it seems that the idiots like Big Pharma had to spend billions and billions of dollars to try to destroy someone's career. Because as a doctor, your job is to help people, not to destroy another doctor's career because they've done something to where they want to help somebody, And I love a good doctor that would do their job to help people, and not think about getting rich, You become a doctor to help people get better, help diagnose a disease like cancer, like cancer and all and AIDS and diabetes and shit like that, to help people, do your job, man. So Stanislav Kaczynski have already patented the angioplasty at least 6-7 times. When there's a part where it was already patented, and the third component they tried to take and patent, but it was already patented by Dr. Kaczynski and shit. And so when you think about it, when you really, really think about it, that's like a couple scientists discovered ivermectin, and it can be used by both human and animals and shit. And when Joe Rogan said that he took ivermectin and a couple other medications, CNN, even though they're caught lying, they doubled down saying Joe Rogan said he took horse dewormer. There's a difference between ivermectin and horse dewormer. Okay, there's a difference. And this couple scientists won the Nobel Peace Prize for that discovery and shit. So a lot of this bullshit, when you really look at it, I got my shots earlier this year. I got one in December, one in January. I didn't get the Pfizer. I got the Moderna shots and shit. And I have to wait 6 months. I got the second one in, I would say, February, I think, the second one. So the one thing that does bug me is, when you, because the media doesn't really do their work. They just throw shit out there, which is basically an opinion hit piece that's propagandic and bullshit, Now, CNN lied about who was that one that one lady from Georgia. They said that she wouldn't ask them their questions, which I watched a full interview, and Jim Acosta got fucking roasted, dude. So CNN tried to double down. Fucking A, dude. Like, holy crap, man, Fucking bullshit that CNN is still doubling down on their bullshit. And this is why CNN is bullshit. They've been lying for 30 years. For 30 years, they've been lying. First, it was the Gulf War, right? Remember the Gulf War at that time? Same time when the whole shit up in LA happened. Well, a couple of people that work for CNN got caught lying. Okay, now at the bottom of the screen it said this was 1991. Okay, I was 15 years old back then. 15 years old. And it said they were in Saudi Arabia. Right? Saudi Arabia. And one had a gas mask, one had a helmet. But years later, I watched the same fucking footage, and they were acting the same way as CNN did now, years later. They were actually in the parking lot at CNN headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. Imagine that fucking shit. I was 15 years old 30 years ago. 30 years ago, 1991. And then years later, same dumb shit. Fucking got lying. They were not in Saudi Arabia. They were in Atlanta, Georgia, in the parking lot of the Senate headquarters. What the fuck is that shit telling you? They lie. CNN has been fake news for 30 fucking years. CNN has been fake news for 30 fucking years, folks. Could you imagine that shit? 30 years, fake news. Holy fucking jumping shit balls. Oh, man. But I do love a good conspiracy theory. Predictive programming is real. It does exist. And what would you guys say of what's your favorite predictive programming that you know of? Because The Simpsons have done it for years, so has Family Guy for years. And it's insane how it happens, right? And it's like really, really fucking weird, dude. Really goddamn weird. Like, holy fucking shit. I mean, the one about Robin Williams and Paul Walker? Holy shit, dude. Man. The part where Brian died? Holy crap. People were fucking crying, dude. And, man. Definite predictive programming, dude. Holy crap. Here's another one. 1993. I was 17 years old. 1993. A show called Kids in the Hall, based out of Canada. Okay. They did that episode where it was predicted 30 years ago for about 30 years later. Okay? 30 years later. Years later. Type up, go onto YouTube, and type up Kids in the Hall 1993. Type up art class 1993. And everything in that episode right there is predicted for now. Imagine 30 years ago. 1993. Almost 30 years ago. Imagine that shit, folks. Imagine that shit, okay? I grew up watching shows like Kids in the Hall, the young ones that came out 40 years ago. And the young ones came out in January of 1981. I was 5 years old then. January of 1981. I had just turned 5. And I went to Wilson Elementary here in Fresno in 1981, 40 years ago. And there were a lot of shows even back then that did predict the kind of shit you would see on Family Guy, Simpsons. It was even some movies like V for Vendetta, which is my favorite movie. I love V. The guy's badass. Um, but you also have to understand that sometimes you wouldn't think you wouldn't think it's a predictive event. Okay, now again, there's a spin-off program that was a spin-off of the X Files. If y'all remember the X Files from back in the '90s, I watched that show religiously because it was a damn good show. Okay, and the episode of the spin-off was where it was. You could say that the episode was also a predictive programming too, because the plane was hacked and controlled by somebody that hacked it and shit, and they were planning to ram the plane in the building. Now this was about, I would say, I don't know how long it was before 9/11 happened. Okay, because 9/11 happened 20 years ago. 20 years ago, and but the whole term predictive programming is fucking weird, dude. Weird. And it was also talked about in a movie back in 1996. I just turned 20. Just turned 20. And it was a movie. And it was talked about where the term false flag was mentioned. False flag was mentioned in the movie. It had Gina Davis and Danny Glover in it, and the bad guy was talking about the false flag by taking planes and ramming the buildings and shit. This was 5 years before 9/11. Now this is some weird fucking shit, folks. I'm like, seriously, some weird fucking shit. And I mean, I'm serious, man. I'm serious. It's really serious fucking shit, but you have to really pay attention. Okay, check out The Shining. Okay, but if you watch The Shining, you'll see that there's some Easter eggs in the movie about the moon landing, because Stanley Kubrick was mentioning that he directed the moon landing. The moon landing was bullshit. It was bullshit. And if you look at 2001 Space Odyssey, it's like I've always been a big fan of Stanley Kubrick, but the one movie, I swear, it got him killed. Okay, Eyes Wide Shut. I believe that movie got him killed. I really do. Because last time there was a movie about the Illuminati and this kind of shit in the movie was right around the late, I'm thinking about somewhere around the 20s or somewhere around the early 30s, where a director and a producer was found mysteriously dead. Okay. And whoever bumped them off, you're not going to know. Because they don't want you to know. Because back then, Hollywood was very haunting. I say it very lightly. Very lightly. Haunting. Okay? Because from the vaudeville era, the silent film vaudeville era to the 70s, I'll say more like, say, the mid 60s. That was the time that there was a lot of scandals happening, a lot of actors, actresses, producers, they led a weird life. a very weird life. Some controversial. I mean, look at Freddie Arbuckle. The guy was a very well-known comedian. He was making $1 million a year. The first comedian that was making $1 million a year. Yeah. He went from silent film era to the talkies, which came out, which he did in the 40s and shit, you know. And because he was a silent film actor that was making some pretty good money. He was good friends with Buster Keaton, who was also a good actor that did his own stunts and stuff. He was like the early version of Jackie Chan, because Jackie Chan did his own stuff, you know. And Buster Keaton was a very tough guy in that time period too. Him and Jackie Chan did their own stunts, did their own shit, you know, but very ballsy too, man, you know. But most of your actors and actresses died mysteriously. Same with the singers and shit. Some died of alcoholism, suicide, somewhere in the drugs and shit, you know. Like, say, Marilyn Monroe. They said that she had an overdose. Bullshit. She was fucking killed by the CIA, dude, because she knew a lot. She was fucking the president and his fucking brother. She knew a lot because JFK was talking a lot of shit. And she knew, she had Shed's diary, red diary. And the CIA wanted that diary because there was a lot of secrets that she knew while banging the president and his brother, dude, you know. And some say that she was bumped off by the Kennedys. I wouldn't put past them because she knew a lot while getting plowed, you know. Dorothy Kilgallen was a Hollywood columnist. You know, she was a very well-known columnist, and she paved the way for a lot of the female journalists. And she set the bar so fucking high. Okay, so fucking high. Barbara Walters, Jane Pauley, Katie Couric, you know. Any female journalist from CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, CNN, MSNBC could not touch her loafers when it comes to being a female journalist, because she had an interview with Jack Ruby, a first ever jail interview, just her and him, and he told her everything. Okay, Jack Ruby told Dorothy Kilgallen everything, and she made copies of what she wrote, and she had notes everything. And after her divorce from her first husband, she wanted to find love. She did. And the guy was a CIA operative. And I wouldn't put it past this guy killing Dorothy Kilgallen. Period. Because she was about to break the story of the JFK assassination, man. You know, and if somebody on the deathbed said, "Yeah, I killed Dorothy Kilgallen," would that be for real or just to kind of get people guessing, you know? But again, Dorothy Kilgallen set the bar so goddamn fucking high. You know, Barbara Walters couldn't even touch her loafers, man. because she was that fucking good. And even Barbara Walters wouldn't do a one-on-one interview with Jack Ruby. You know, because she wouldn't have the balls to do it, like Dorothy Kilgallen did back in 64. But she died in 65, the following year. Because when they found her body, she was dead. And she wore her glasses, but the book she had was upside down. So they knew that something was up. They took her out. Anybody that gets close to the JFK assassination, or whoever was a witness and saw whatever, they are now fucking dead. They're dead. True. They're fucking dead now. Literally fucking dead. You know. Fucking dead. I mean, but now one of the shows I'm a big fan of, and that is the Boondocks. And I think John Witherspoon did a pretty good job playing Grandpa in that show. Really good show, and it pushed a lot of buttons, but it also did a predictive programming too. Okay. Now you would hear a lot of hip hop guys turning gay. Why? You know, I mean, you see him wearing dresses and shit. You know, all that bullshit. You know, and it did an episode where a rapper was seen kissing a dude. Like, really? And then now you hear, secretly, they're secretly gay. You know, and this would really blow you away. Not just a fan of the Boondocks, but also a fan of hip hop. And it's like, what the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking serious here? But it has to do with this Illuminati shit, even in hip hop, you know. I mean, if y'all seen that the shows that Beyonce was in, and the way they have her at a certain angle or whatnot, she looks fucking possessed, dude. Like, she's fucking possessed by the devil or some shit, you know. And, like, fucking A, dude. Fucking A, man, you know. And you're seeing this shit, and you're like, you see her face starts to like, really deform into, like, this red thing. And it's like, what the fuck? Is that really her, or is she on dope? That part, I'm kidding, but in actuality, if you look at her face, it's like her face is contorted into something weird and demonic. And you look at her eyes, and the way her face looks, is like it's a demonic monster, that or creature that's coming out of nowhere. And I'm like, dude, that is some freaky fucking shit, folks. I mean, that's some really freaky fucking shit, man. That's like, if you look at a famous person and you look at their eyes, it looks like either a lizard or an alien. Kind of like the Men in Black kind of shit. Like holy shit, man. Like goddamn, fucking shit, man. Holy crap, dude. Um, I don't know, man. You know, again, I'm a big fan of hip hop, and there are a bunch of great, talented hip hop artists. Both male and female. But my question is this: why all of a sudden are the good upcoming artists that are coming out and just out of nowhere getting killed? Like Tentacion, who's this modern day, who is a modern day Tupac. Talented young man, 21 years old, about to be a dad, and was shot and killed at a car show by two other rappers who robbed him. Could it be jealousy? Envy? Vindictiveness kind of shit? Like, why kill Nipsey Hussle? The guy was a very talented guy. He owned his own business in Los Angeles. He was trying to stop the gang shit, but here's the thing: the gang shit ain't going to stop. There has to be that one thing where it all needs to end, man. And where it has end, But as long as gangs, there will always be black on black crime. No bullshit there, okay? No bullshit there. And whoever said there is no black on black crime, they're full of shit. Because 2 weeks ago, a 31-year-old black guy shot a 51-year-old black guy who was working security. A security guard. Shot him in the back of the head. Okay? Shot him in the back of the head. And then another guy robbed him. And where's Black Lives Matter? Where are they on this? Oh, that's right. The only time they come out and say anything is when a white person kills a black person. Oh, that's right. I get it now. They don't care about black lives. They only care about donations. Isn't that fucked up? You don't care about your own, but you rather get a little bit of green, right? It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. I'm half Hispanic and half white. Okay. I'm proud of who the fuck I am. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. For the last 10 years that I've been on YouTube, I have never ever been called a racist, a homophobe, a misogynist. All those words. Period. But I am a father of a gay 23-year-old son who is a fine young man and a smart gentleman. 23 years old, and I'm very proud of my son. Always will be. Always will be. But here's the thing. Schools need to stop this teaching of trends, education, and the CRT bullshit, because they need to get back to teaching ABCs, not LGBT. That's the parent's job. What's this shit? Says, hey, I'm waiting you on 18 plus stream. What the fuck is this shit? What the fuck is this shit? What's this naked HD XYZ bullshit? Gotta be a fucking troll and shit, man. I don't know, man. Who's this naked HD XYZ bullshit? Guys, I'm getting this shit. I'm getting this message here. It says, hey, I'm waiting you on 18 plus stream at 4 thing on here. Is this from the viewer here? Yeah, man. Schools need to teach ABCs, not LGBT, man. That's bullshit. I got this naked HD XYZ. I don't know if it's a troll or what, because, you know, I don't do that shit. I don't do that streaming shit. But, alright, folks, this is good old Grandmaster Evan here. And, I'm gonna put the turkey in the oven. It's been about an hour. So, if you're new to this channel, please share this video, subscribe, comment below, hit the bell for notification, and always live healthy, happy, wise. I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out. Godspeed.